Hello, drivers. If you've checked my shots, you've seen me behind the wheel, a van and a tiny Toyota Starlet. Nothing flashy, nothing loud, but something about them stuck. Not speed, not style, just function, balance, precision. And it made me start asking questions. How does a country build cars like this? How do small, humble vehicles become part of something much bigger? What started as curiosity turned into a story about an entire industry, a story of observation, refinement, and a kind of quiet persistence. That's where we begin. And the best part, you don't need to pay a thing. Just buckle up and follow along. In the early 20th century, the automobile was already defined elsewhere. Mass production had taken shape in America. Engineering identity had matured in Europe. Japan entered this space later, but not empty handed. Companies like Toyota and Nissan began developing vehicles within an already established global framework. There were influences, there were references, but more importantly, there was attention to detail. Japan's early cars weren't about redefining the automobile, they were about understanding it, how it's built, how it moves, how it lasts. After the Second World War, priorities shifted. Rebuilding became essential, resources were limited, efficiency mattered. So the approach evolved. Smaller cars, lower costs, practical design. Not excessive, but intentional. Exports began to increase, slowly at first, then steadily. Markets started to notice something subtle. These cars weren't demanding attention, they were earning trust. Over time, the focus moved deeper, from product to process. This is where systems like the Toyota production system began to define direction. Efficiency wasn't just a goal, it became a method. Every step examined, every delay reduced, every flaw studied. Improvement wasn't occasional, it was continuous. And that changes something fundamental. Because when improvement becomes part of the system, progress stops depending on moments and starts depending on structure. Then the environment changed. The global shift of the 1970s. Fuel became more expensive, efficiency became necessary, and suddenly the qualities Japan had been refining aligned with global demand. Vehicles like the Toyota Corolla and the Honda Civic fit the moment, not by coincidence, but by preparation, consistency, efficiency, reliability. These weren't new ideas, but now they mattered more. At the same time, another dimension was developing performance, but not always in the traditional sense. Not just raw power, not just speed. Cars like the Nissan Skyline GTR, the Toyota Supra, and the Honda NSX introduced something different: precision, balance, repeatability, performance that could be used, not just achieved. By the 1990s and early 2000s, Japanese cars were no longer just products. They had become part of culture, from daily commuting to enthusiast communities. Their presence expanded across continents, across use cases, and in many places, they became the default. Not because they demanded it, but because they deliver. Today, the same principles continue: reliability, efficiency, balance. But now, combined with new technologies, hybrid systems, electrifications, advanced safety, the approach remains familiar, measured, structured, deliberate. Looking ahead, the direction feels consistent. New challenges, new technologies, but a similar method, not rushed, not reactive, developed step by step. If the pattern holds, the next phase may not arrive dramatically, but it may arrive fully formed. Industries don't always shift with noise. Sometimes they evolve through alignment between method and moment. And over time, that alignment speaks for itself. Hit like if you enjoyed the video.